Hey everyone, let's jump right into this. Welcome to this explainer on T. Harv Eker's Secrets of the Millionaire Mind. Today, we're unpacking a really wild concept, the idea that getting rich actually has very little to do with how smart you are or even how hard you work. It is almost entirely about your psychological operating system. You see, most of us were taught to think like poor people without even realizing it. But today, we're going to change that. Let's kick things off with a core paradox that I think perfectly illustrates this. Why is it that people who suddenly come into massive amounts of cash, like, say, lottery winners, almost always lose the whole shebang in just a few years? But then, on the flip side, self-made millionaires who go completely bankrupt have this uncanny ability to quickly rebuild their entire fortunes. I mean, what is the difference there? Well, the answer to that paradox is exactly what we're covering right here in Section 1, the hidden money blueprint and how to reprogram your mind. Your money blueprint is kind of like this invisible computer program, just quietly running in the background of your subconscious, and it literally dictates your financial reality. Now, this faulty childhood programming was installed in three distinct ways. First up is modeling, basically what you saw. For example, Harv unconsciously modeled his father, who was a home builder. His dad's business was constantly going through these incredibly stressful boom and bust cycles. And guess what? For 10 years, Harv replicated that exact same financial roller coaster in his own life. Second is specific incidents, what you actually experienced emotionally around money. And third is verbal programming, what you heard. Now, it is absolutely wild how powerful that verbal programming can be. Just consider the story of a guy named Steven. Steven was making $800,000 a year, which is, fantastic, but he always managed to lose it. Why? Because growing up, his mother constantly repeated this one phrase: rich people are greedy. You should have just enough to get by. After that, you're a pig. Because of that, Steven's subconscious mind firmly associated extreme wealth with being a bad person. His mind was literally sabotaging his success just to keep him aligned with his mom's beliefs. So if we want to permanently fix our bank accounts, we've got to fix that mental programming first. And that brings us to Section 2, Rewiring for a Wealthy Mindset by Adopting Wealthy Traits. Okay, ask yourself this kind of ridiculous question. Are your legs more important or your eyes? You'd probably say, both are important, right? This perfectly highlights the restrictive either-or mindset of the poor versus the expansive both-and abundance mindset of the rich. People with a poor mindset think they literally have to choose between having money or having happiness. Rich people, they demand both money and happiness. They operate from a place of abundance and constantly ask themselves, how can I have both? Building on that, let's look at how we view the world. A poor mindset zeroes in on obstacles and feels I need to know every single step before even starting. A rich mindset, on the other hand, focuses on opportunities and just gets in the game. When Harv wanted to open a dessert cafe, he didn't just sit around overanalyzing it to death. He went out and took a job at a pie shop to learn the ropes. And by getting in the game, he realized he actually hated the cafe business. But, and here's the incredible twist, while working there, he spotted a totally different opportunity selling exercise boots to fitness stores. That little pivot is exactly what made him his first million. Now here's a huge one. How do you view people who've already made it? When Harv was broke and driving this beat-up cheap car, nobody bothered him. But when he finally bought a brand new black Jaguar, suddenly people were cutting him off, throwing beer cans at his sunroof. Someone even keyed the entire side of the car. It revealed a pretty brutal truth. You can never attract the wealth that you secretly resent. If you see a nice house or a nice car, you have to bless it. You've got to admire success, not resent it. Another thing, wealthy people absolutely refuse to put a cap on their income. They want to be paid based on results, not on their time. Harv once worked with a PR consultant who charged a flat $4,000 a month. Well, Harv counteroffered. He said, look, I'll give you 50% of the value of the media coverage you bring in. With that deal, she could have easily made 10 grand, more than double her asking rate. But she turned it down. She preferred the safety of being paid for her time, regardless of how well she actually performed. Listen, your time is limited, so if you're trading time for money, your wealth is permanently limited too. All right, let's pivot from just thinking like the wealthy to actually acting like them. Here is Section 3, the habits of the rich and managing your resources. I absolutely love this analogy. Just picture a 5-year-old kid who just dropped a single scoop of ice cream on the sidewalk. They're crying, so naturally you offer to buy them another one. But then they point to this massive, towering 3-scoop cone. Would you honestly buy the 3-scoop cone for a kid who just proved they couldn't even handle 1 scoop? Of course not. Well, the universe works the exact same way.
It is not going to give you more money to manage until you can prove you're fully capable of managing what you already have.
So how exactly are we supposed to manage it? Harv recommends splitting your income into 6 very specific buckets: 50% for necessities, 10% for financial freedom, which means investments only, 10% for long-term savings, 10% for education, 10% for charity, and finally, a massively important 10% for play. Now, this play account is absolutely vital. If you only save and act totally responsible all the time, your inner fun-seeking spirit is eventually going to rebel and completely sabotage your progress. You have to spend that 10% every single month on something that makes you feel genuinely rich, like a fancy dinner or a great hotel, just to keep that inner spirit satisfied. We also need to make a massive shift in what we focus on. We've got to stop obsessing over our monthly working salary and start fixating on the real scorecard of financial success, our net worth. Simply put, it's exactly how much money you'd have left if you sold absolutely everything you own today and paid off all your debts. And building that net worth, it really just comes down to a super simple 2-step process. Step 1, keep a portion of your money every single month. Step 2, use that saved money to buy assets that grow in value and put money right back into your pocket. Seriously, grab a piece of paper today, draw a line down the middle, write your current net worth at the bottom and your dream number at the top. Track it every month, because whatever you track, you naturally improve.
This actually leads perfectly into our next point. Working hard is great, but, well, actually, let's be honest, working hard alone isn't going to make you rich. You must create passive income. There was this lady who attended one of Harv's seminars. She was about to buy a house to live in, but instead, she bought a rental property. Then, she moved to a cheap tropical island where her living costs were practically nothing. The rent she collected covered her island lifestyle completely. It freed up her time so she never genuinely had to work again. She made her money work hard for her.
So let me ask you right now, what is your magic passive income number? Literally, how much money do you need flowing in every single month so you never have to clock in again? Is it $2,000? $3,000? Take the time to figure that out. And remember, relentlessly lowering your living expenses, just like that lady moving to the beach, makes hitting this target significantly easier and a whole lot faster. Now here is a mental block that trips up so many people. It sounds totally nuts, pun intended, to imagine a squirrel refusing to collect winter nuts because it feels unworthy, right? Yet people unconsciously block wealth every single day because they are just poor receivers. They deflect compliments, they refuse help from others, and they genuinely feel guilty about receiving money. Rich people are fantastic receivers. They know the universe has an abundance to give, and they accept compliments, help, and money with profound gratitude. Which brings us to our final pillar, Section 4, acting in spite of fear, leaving the comfort zone. This right here is the bridge between our inner thoughts and our outer reality. Look, the secret here isn't to just cross your fingers and hope you never run into problems. The secret is to grow yourself so that you are bigger than those problems. Check out this scale. If you're a level 2 person, a level 5 problem looks like an absolute mountain. It's terrifying. But if you work on yourself and grow into a level 10 person, that exact same level 5 problem becomes just a tiny bump in the road. The size of the problem doesn't really matter. Your wealth can only ever grow to the exact extent that you do. Actually, there's a great story where Harv flat out told a guy in Seattle, "You're freaking broke." Harv was teaching a seminar and invited the audience to a life-changing 3-day event up in Vancouver, Canada, which was just a 3-hour drive away. Well, this guy said he'd only go if Harv brought the seminar to Seattle instead. So Harv asked him how he was doing financially, and the guy mumbled, "Not too good." Harv looked at him and said he was freaking broke because he was letting a mere 3-hour drive stop him. If minor discomfort stops you in your tracks, you are never going to create lasting wealth. Because here's the reality. The rich act in spite of fear. They don't have some magic wand to kill fear, and they definitely don't run away from it. As Harv beautifully describes it, they brilliantly learn to tame the Cobra of Fear. They feel the discomfort, they feel all that anxiety, but they just keep moving forward anyway. They ask for the raise, they start the business, they take the leap. So how do you know if you're actually getting all this right? Well, people with a poor mindset constantly walk around saying, "Oh, I already know that." But rich people, they commit to constantly learning and growing. The blunt truth is, if you are not currently financially free and completely happy, you simply do not know everything yet. You've got to drop the ego, ditch the know-it-all attitude, and make a relentless commitment to continuous learning. As we wrap up this explainer, I want to leave you with a real question to chew on. As you look at these traits of the wealthy, you have to ask yourself, are you going to consciously rewrite your money blueprint today, or are you going to let your past dictate your future? Remember, mastering your mind is literally the only true way to master your money. Thanks so much for learning with me today, and I seriously challenge you to go start tracking that net worth right now.